We're back. The House and the Senate approving budgets late last night. $3.5 trillion. Boy, that's a lot of money. Not a single Republican voted in favor. Joining us now, Republican Congressman Erik Paulsen of Minnesota. He's a member of the Financial Services Committee. Welcome, sir. Thanks very much for being with us.
Oh, it's great to be with you today.
Is bipartisanship dead?
No, bipartisanship is not dead at all. I think there's a lot of members that want to work bipartisanly on many of these challenging issues that face us. But there's a distinct difference between the Democrat budget that passed last night and some of us on the Republican side of the aisle that were advocating an alternative that focused more on job creation rather than on more spending, borrowing, and deficits in the future.
So you think, how do you shift that emphasis to job creation?
Well, there has to be a focus on job creation.
I know that, but what I'm saying is, in the actual nitty-gritty budget,
well,
how do you do that as opposed to, I mean, aren't you going to wind up spending money if you do that too?
Well, first and foremost, we should not be raising taxes on small businesses because that is the engine that drives economic growth in this country. And under the Democratic budget, half the tax increases that are put in place, about $1.5 trillion, will be on small businesses. So that is a distinct difference between the Republican plan because we will create about 2.1 million more jobs than the Democrat plan, hands down. Without a doubt. And that's where the focus has to be. And the leading indicator today with the new job losses that are out, 665,000 job losses, I think that shows more than ever that the priorities right now in this budget are not there for the Democrats.
Congressman Paulsen, if you could go through maybe 3 lines of how the average American would be better off under your budget versus the other budget, tell us line by line what the budget says and what people are going to benefit from.
Well, number one, there's going to be a benefit because right now the average person in this country owes about $35,000 as their share of the national debt. That's going to double to $70,000 under the Democratic budget. That would not be the case under the Republican budget. Secondly, there are a lot of tax cuts that are going to be set to expire and will expire under the Democrat budget now. So taxes on asset preservation, everyone's worried about their 401ks, their 529 plans for saving for college. Under the Republican budget, those taxes are not going to go in place. And so we're going to be able to restore value in those balance sheets, which I think the American public's looking for right now.
The Democratic plan taxes 401ks?
Well, they will tax capital gains taxes, which is a tax on asset preservation. And so that's a tax on entrepreneurs, on innovators, on the future economy of this country where jobs are going to be created. Absolutely.
I think most 401ks are taxes ordinary. No, I'm thinking IRA. I beg your pardon.
Let's talk about that unemployment question mark there, because obviously you're saying that you would like to create more jobs in this country. In terms of your internal estimates, how high are you believing that unemployment could go in this country under the opposing budget?
Well, what we're hearing right now, at 8.5% unemployment currently, we are being told by some economists it could go as high as 9 to 9.5%, possibly 10%. And we're at the highest level right now in 25 years in this country. And so we're hemorrhaging jobs, 165,000 jobs a week. And again, I just think Congress, especially the congressional leadership, has had a lack of focus. We passed a stimulus bill, which was nothing more than a spending bill that only provided 6% of funding towards real infrastructure projects. A lot of that was just more traditional government spending, an increase of about 8-9%. And my constituents' paychecks aren't going up by 8-9% per year at all right now.
There's also a question in this budget about reconciliation. Tell us about that and why it's important to you, or unimportant that it's out.
Well, and reconciliation is a process that's important more in the Senate, only because it allows Senate Democrats or leadership there to be able to subvert some of the rules and get some of these tax increases through that in a more quick manner that I think the public would not be able to scrutinize. And certainly we on the House side want to raise that scrutiny as much as possible.
All right, thank you.
Got to go. Thank you very much, Representative
Good to be with you.
Paulsen. We'll be right back.